The Crown continued their closing argument. This is part one of my day 4 recap of the closing arguments in the 2018 Team Canada SA trial. Make sure you follow so you don't miss anything as the trial wraps up. The Crown started off the day by talking about how EM reacted when the men started coming into the room, saying, quote, feeling scared and confused, she defaults to habit, but as more men arrived in the room, she found herself, quote, in over her head. She then said, quote, initially she's trying to resist in passive ways, in ways that would be completely recognizable to any woman or anyone who has seen a woman in an uncomfortable situation. She then said, quote, that the men were making suggestions about what she should do, telling her what to do and to get down on the floor and to touch herself, quote, she is intimidated by the presence of these men, so she goes along with what she thinks is expected. But it's what she thinks, it's what is expected because it's what they are saying to each other. It's not coming from nowhere. She then said that this is the context for EM's disconnection from her body. She then went on to say that the fact that EM has gaps in her memory doesn't make her less credible as a witness, and it doesn't make her memory less reliable. Quote, she has memory gaps. It doesn't mean that the memories that she is clear about are less reliable. At a different point, the Crown was urging the judge to treat the suggestions that the defense lawyers put to EM under cross-examination as evidence. She said one example of that is the lawyer suggesting to EM that she could have asked McLeod to bring his teammates into the room. Quote, I urge you to be very cautious. It doesn't line up to any evidence. She said, quote, that's not a word I would use. I don't think that would come out of my mouth. Quote, just because someone is drunk doesn't open an entire world of possibilities that has no basis in the person that they are. She then turned her topic to EM's credibility and why she should be believed. She said that in her testimony that EM was abundantly fair, clear and concise, not resentful and confirmatory. Quote, throughout 9 days of testimony, she was calm, thoughtful, and fair. She didn't leave the impression that she was making things up as she went along. She was trying to be as accurate and precise as she could be with limitations of her memory. She then said that any criticism of EM's demeanor could be chalked up to, quote, human nature and shouldn't impact her credibility. Quote, of course she's thinking ahead. The people who are asking questions are trying to discredit you and are calling you a liar. She then said that she wanted to address the defense lawyer's characterization during their closing submissions of EM being a difficult witness with an agenda. She said, quote, if she's too emotional, she's combative. If she's not emotional enough, she's rehearsed. If she uses the same language over and over, it's contrived. If she uses different language, she's inconsistent. It all finds its roots in the ideal victim, that there's a right way for someone to look and sound when describing sexual assault, that there is a right way or a good way for a victim to testify. She then said that if EM had an agenda, it was to, quote, to ensure that she was understood, to ensure that she had the ability to fully explain her experience. She then tackled the fact that the defense lawyers were calling out EM, that EM's language changed between her original police interview calling the men boys and now calling them men in the trial. She said, quote, in fact, they at one point described her as an older woman. It infantilises the defendants and leaves the impression that she was more mature and bears more responsibility for her actions. She then said, quote, they were a similar age and station in life as EM. She then also judged not to rely on, quote, paraphrasing and, quote, embellishments that the defense lawyers made during their closing arguments.